So let me talk about Infor dEPM. Integrated performance management, because it sits in multi-tenant cloud integrated with InforOS, integrated to the cloud suites. So it can be sold standalone, but it can be sold as an edge application with the cloud suites. It's brand new in multi-tenant cloud. Until now, we were running in single tenant, so now it's available in multi-tenant as well. And it's already integrated with CSF. M3 integration is coming next month. LN is in good progress. HCM is in good progress. And it's a big competitive advantage against third-party tools, because third-party tools always need to implement everything from scratch. They don't live within the Infor infrastructure, within InforOS and everything. It's an application on one side, but it's also an extensibility platform. We provide prepackaged application for budgeting and planning, forecasting, workforce budgeting, financial consolidation, so all the components and functionality needed for a out-of-the-box performance management, but also there is an extensibility platform with an in-memory database and a rapid application building platform. So extensions and custom applications can be built really powerfully in a quick time. And especially now during Corona crisis, it's another reason to push even more budgeting solutions, because measuring, optimizing, and planning is even more critical during a crisis than in normal times. With that, businesses can get really saving in the right place, investing in the right place, and watching carefully what's going on. I don't want to do a deep introduction here, just a quick highlight for those who are not familiar with the typical tasks, what people do with performance management. So here is a sample year with dEPM, what customers do with dEPM during a life cycle of a year. So before the fiscal year starts, so fiscal year -1, the strategic planning already starts. So setting goals, scenarios, setting scorecards, then the operational budgeting, setting up the budgets. This is what the finance people type in. CapEx, capital planning, OpEx, creating subplans for different businesses, different verticals, allocations. And then when the fiscal year starts, the daily life goes on every day for financial management, financial reporting, monthly reporting. Typically in the March timeframe, depending on the legislations in different countries, the consolidation process starts for management and also statutory consolidation. Quarterly, there are forecasts, reporting on the forecast, creating scenarios and outlooks. And half year, at the end of the fiscal year, there is a feedback analysis as a preparation and summary of the year, commenting KPI simulations and scenarios. So I'd like to show a couple of possibilities in dEPM, which is most typical. I cannot go through the whole life cycle here, but I would like to show a couple of areas which are really, really great to show in multi-tenant cloud. If you open dEPM, you don't necessarily need to go to the product similarly as other applications we've seen today and yesterday on the show here. We can go to Mingle, start with the home page, and either fill it with widgets coming from dEPM or mix it with widgets from applications with dEPM widgets. We have great support for banner widgets. We have great support for standard widgets. And this is a sample role-based homepage for a person who wants to see the continuous comparison of actuals and budget, or it could be different versions like forecasts or simulations. We support the banner widgets with all these changing background of the stripes. So you see now it's blue. Also the charts change to blues. If I change it to black, then all the charts will be more monochromic and gray. So this is a great feature, what makes it really pleasant to look at. Everything what you see here can be a custom report built in, can be a standard, relatively boring financial report. It can be nice visualizations, and it can be also interactive coming from self-service. So end users are also encouraged to create their own widgets here, their own charts here. We have self-service, and you can start creating your insights into the budgeting data, into the forecast and everything. Everything is interactive, so I can change filters. I can change from the region. What I have here, I think I have all the regions. I can go to a specific country and all the charts update. So I go, for example, select North America, and the widget will recalculate the data, will update to the numbers based on that. So I can use all the flexibility without necessarily going into the menu system of dEPM. Of course, that's also possible, and then we offer even more capabilities in there. Another great opportunity to show here the integration is Coleman, the digital assistant, where we provide, just as the Coleman digital assistant provides a platform to build skills, we provide a platform to add skill capabilities also on the dEPM side. So you can create, based on the use cases of the customer, any kind of skills. For example, ask for, you see here up there, I asked for the budget for 2018 and it wrote me the numbers, or I can use it even for navigation. First, when I seen this, I said, who will use it really on daily life? But it's so beautiful. I don't need to go to menus, search for applications and so on. If the right skills are prepared for me, I can just type show actual where. And in this case, we have multiple visualizations prepared, so it can even show a chart here, but I say I just want to explore the data. Or I could put show me a bar chart and it would show me a bar chart. So now I want to do more interaction. I want to explore the data. So in the pop-up, it really brings up our self-service. I did not need to find where it lives in the system. It's straightforward, but it's much easier to go with this type of navigation. I go just choose the view of the data I want to see, and immediately there I am. I can slice and dice and continue with my ad hoc analysis. Because all this is budgeting, and most of the users are finance people. Finance people always like Excel. So another great thing to show them and win their hearts is to show how this can live together with Excel, and not in a static way. Of course, we can export everything to PDF and Excel or even create PowerPoints out of it, but really in a live way. I can come here and say copy report definition. I switch to Excel. So this is a real life Excel, Office 365. Here we are connected to the multi-tenant cloud from Excel. And what you see here is the latest and greatest Excel JavaScript environment. So it runs from Excel on Windows, it runs from Excel on Macintosh, and soon it will run also from Excel online. So it will run from a web browser. Everything what you see here is not the old foolish Visual Basic, but it's all JavaScript using the latest and greatest from the latest development of Excel. So I add my report, which I copied, and what it does, it creates a formula report. So I just make this thing show up really even bigger. So it creates an Excel report with formulas, functions, what we added registered at Excel. And it goes really to the live database, to the budgeting data, and gets me the numbers from here. And this gives now full power to the controllers or finance users to play with all the flexibility of Excel. I can add rows, columns, or just say, I want to calculate the sum of this column. And it gets me the numbers, put it like this. So I can do all the flexibility of Excel, formatting, play with the numbers. And it's not just read only. I can modify the numbers. I can come to edit and change formulas, and I can type in a single value, or I can even splash here. For example, I see here a full year 2016. If I type in something, it will splash down to all the products, all the regions, all the channels, and all the months of this year. So it will virtually manipulate thousands or hundreds of thousands of values. Of course, this is the raw access to the data for users who want to really play with the data. But obviously, we also offer options to have it all through a guided workflow and a more controlled way. So if there is a departmental data entry for budgeting, so for example, there are local entities where everyone needs to put in their budget numbers, we provide workbooks and workflow around that. So here is, for example, asset planning with all the accounts on the axis, with all the time details. I see a comparison of past actuals versus a budget for the new year. I can just easily drag and drop a simple number. And notice here, I'm not really changing one number. I'm again changing everything beyond. All the numbers for 2019 is my sample data is copied over. So a lot of details are taken over from the old year to the new year. And now I can play with that. For example, my favorite is to say, I don't want to have these costs or these revenues happening monthly. This will be happening quarterly. So I will just go to the phasing and say, change me the number, keep the number, but change the phasing into end of quarter. You see the same, the distribution is changing. The number is the same, but now I see the details. Again, all the recalculation happens in the background. And this is another benefit. In many systems, you do all these changes and then you need to run an aggregation, we have an in-memory database where aggregations are happening on the fly. So as soon as I change one or thousands or hundreds of thousands of values, all the dependencies are automatically calculated. I don't need to rerun any calculation. So typing in values can be really easy in this way, but I also can go into more details. For example, investment properties, I might go into more details, not just like onto the account level. I want to show something more. For example, custom details. In this case, I'm entering hardware costs. So here, the account is configured that for investment properties, not hardware, yeah, the costs, I can type in the number of desk chairs I want to purchase per month or per quarter. You see it's configured per quarter. So I just type in the number of units and everything is calculated for me. Another case could be that it's not really prepared for me. I want to go into my own details. So I go to the switch to the line details, and I can start adding additional lines, and we can say it will be tables. Okay, and then I can type in those numbers myself. In the accounts, the aggregated number will appear, but if anyone wants to see the details, why I came to these final numbers, they can go to these details and see everything. Obviously, one additional very important thing for budgeting is a commentary. So I can open the commentary, and every single change, every single workbook can comment it with a with a formatted rich text editor. So I can put there my nice formats. I can upload attachments, so Word documents, PowerPoints, anything, and then anyone who needs to approve this will get not just the final number, but also will get all my thought process, the comments, and the details why I did that. The last piece I wanted to quickly show is why it's even more integrated than it used to be in the past. So it's integrated to CSF, it's integrated to M3. In this case, I have the samples running with M3. If M3 is collecting data, it's pushing, as Keith was showing, all the data into the data lake, and dEPM is taking the data from the data lake. So here you see a workflow which can be executed manually. It can be executed on a scheduled basis, and it will take the data from all the dimensions from the general ledger. It will load the facts, move it to dEPM, and then in dEPM, I can go to dEPM business modeling, and here I can configure what do I want to do with this data, because many times there is not a single source system. Even if M3 and dEPM are running together in a cloud suite, customers many times, for example, we have GP, they are running SAP, they are running Excel fast, and they are running M3 together. All this data needs to fly in for the budgeting, for the financial reporting. So many times it's needed to import from M3, but even do manual adjustments later on and make it in a way that the manual adjustments and continuous imports don't fight with each other. They live in one system easily. So in this case, I come to the business objects, and you see we don't talk about technical tables or dimensions and these kind of things. We talk about accounts, entities, everything what a business user can understand. And the business user says, for next year, we are planning to open a new entity, or we are trying to create a new account. They can just come here and say, I want to add one, create, and then in the budgeting system, everything lives together, the imported one and the manually created one. So with this, my time is over. So I think we give back control and open for questions.